Once upon a time, in the heart of a mystical forest nestled between rolling hills and sparkling rivers, there existed a tiny village inhabited by happy blue creatures known as Smurfs. Their days were filled with laughter, their nights with peaceful slumber, and their lives revolved around the rhythm of nature. But one day, an unexpected event threatened to disrupt their tranquil existence, shaking the very foundations of their world. The spring, the lifeline of Smurf Village, had frozen overnight. Every morning, the Smurfs would wake up before sunrise and gather around their beloved spring to collect water. This daily ritual wasn't just a necessity, it was a cherished part of their lives. However, on this particular day, when they arrived at the spring, they found it encased in a thick layer of ice. The usually gushing water was now frozen, turning their oasis into a solid mass of ice. Alarmed by this sudden change, the Smurfs knew they had to take action. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the urgency grew. Without water, they wouldn't be able to sustain themselves. The normally lively village became enveloped in a cloud of worrying. Among the Smurfs, there was one known for his wisdom and calm demeanor. Papa Smurf, with a long white beard and a deep understanding of the forest, he was their leader and their source of comfort in times of trouble. Seeing the distress on his fellow Smurfs' faces, he knew he had to act fast. He examined the frozen spring, his eyes narrowed in concentration. While the other Smurfs discussed possible solutions, their voices filled with despair, Papa Smurf noticed something peculiar. Amidst the smooth frozen surface of the spring, some strange ice crystals sparkled, catching his eye. These weren't ordinary ice crystals. They seemed to emanate a faint magical aura, hinting at a source of power beyond their comprehension. As if drawn by an invisible force, the Smurfs followed these glistening shards, their path leading them into the darkest depths of the woods. The once familiar forest now seemed menacing, the towering trees like gnarled fingers reaching out, blocking the sunlight. The playful chirping of birds had been replaced by an eerie silence, broken only by the rustle of leaves under their feet. Among them was a young, cautious Smurf. He was known for his attentiveness and his willingness to help, always ready to lend a hand to those in need. He scanned the surroundings, his eyes sharp and alert. His keen observation skills soon picked up a detail that others might have missed. In the distance, partially hidden behind a thick cluster of mushrooms, was a small cave. Its entrance was shrouded in a faint mist, making it almost invisible. The sight of the cave brought a flicker of hope to their worried faces. Could this be the answer to their prayers, a solution to their waterless crisis? Perhaps, with renewed determination, the Smurfs approached the cave. Their steps were lighter, their voices a bit louder. As they neared the entrance, they heard a sound that sent a chill down their spines. It was a soft, mournful cry, like the lament of a lost soul. This discovery filled them with both trepidation and determination. Whatever was inside that cave had caused the spring to freeze. And it was time to confront this mystery. Cautiously, the Smurfs stepped into the cave. Inside, the air was heavy and cold, sending shivers down their spines. The flickering light from the glowing mushrooms did little to dispel the gloom. Just ahead, the sound of sobbing grew louder, echoing off the damp cave walls. And then they saw it, in the center of the caves, at a small, translucent figure. The being was humanoid in shape, but entirely made of ice, like a miniature ice sculpture. Its wings, folded against its body, sparkled with an ethereal glow, and tears streamed down its icy face, each tear freezing on contact with the ground. And thus, the source of the frozen spring was revealed. Afraid yet unafraid, careful Smurf approached the creature, his voice soft but firm. "Hello," he said gently, "we mean you no harm. We just want to understand why you're crying." The ice creature looked up, its eyes filled with sadness. "I am the ice spirit," it whispered, its voice like the tinkling of ice. "I've been crying because I am alone. I wandered here from the North Pole seeking friends, but my tears have frozen everything around me. I didn't mean to harm anyone." As the ice creature spoke, careful Smurf noticed something even more peculiar. Each time the ice creature cried, more ice crystals formed around it, spreading outward from the cave and towards the village. It dawned on him that this was the source of the frozen spring and the chilling winds that had swept through the village. Careful Smurf turned back to the ice creature, a determined look on his face. "Don't cry," he said softly. "You're not alone anymore. You're with us now. We won't let you be lonely." The ice creature looked up, its eyes widening in surprise. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, a small smile touched its icy lips. Careful Smurf extended his hand, palm open in a gesture of friendship. "Will you be our friend?" he asked. Hesitantly, the ice creature reached out, its icy fingers brushing against his. To Careful Smurf's astonishment, it felt warm. As their hands touched, a wave of heat seemed to flow from Careful Smurf's hand into the ice creature, causing some of the ice on its body to melt. At the sight of this, the other Smurfs crowded around them, their faces filled with wonder. The ice creature, no longer crying, looked at the Smurfs with newfound hope. "Friends," it whispered, its voice filled with gratitude. As the ice creature stood up, the ice crystals on the ground began to vanish. The Smurfs cheered, their voices echoing in the once silent forest. With the spring now freed, they could return to their peaceful lives. But for Careful Smurf, the experience had been life-changing. He had discovered that sometimes the greatest strength comes not from physical prowess, but from the warmth of friendship and compassion. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the forest floor, the Smurfs made their way back to the village. The path was lighter now, not just because of the fading light, but because of the hope that bloomed in their hearts. Upon their return, they were greeted by the joyous sight of the spring bubbling merrily, its waters sparkling in the fading light. The villagers erupted in cheers, their voices echoing in delight. Braver Smurf, who had shown such courage and kindness, was lifted onto Papa Smurf's shoulders and paraded around the village. Each Smurf wanted to shake his hand, each voice filled with admiration and gratitude. That evening, as the Smurfs gathered around their now restored spring, Papa Smurf raised his hand, his eyes twinkling. "Tonight," he announced, "we celebrate bravery and friendship. Braver Smurf has shown us that sometimes the greatest strength comes from the gentlest of actions. And our dear ice creature has taught us that even in the coldest of hearts, there is room for warmth and friendship." As the Smurfs ate, drank, and sang, the ice creature, now welcomed and loved, played with the others, its laughter echoing in the twilight. The Smurfs' world, once threatened by the frozen spring, was now filled with the joy of community and the warmth of friendship. From that day forward, Braver Smurf and the ice creature remained the best of friends. And every year, when the first snowflake fell, the ice creature would visit the Smurfs, reminding them that even in the coldest of winters, the warmth of friendship could always melt the ice. So the tale of Braver Smurf and the ice creature became a legend in Smurf Village, a story whispered from generation to generation, teaching young Smurfs the valuable lessons of bravery, friendship, and the power of kindness. The end.